I always look at it as kind of that opportunity to give back to your following as well. And I think that's another important thing of why it's important to make the prize really great, right?
Sip, Create, Repeat. A podcast providing marketing strategies you can consume over a cup of coffee.
Welcome back to another episode of Sip, Create, Repeat. Today we are talking about creating and managing giveaways and how that can be a good way to actually grow your social following. It'll be myself, Julia, and Alicia today chatting about this. But first off, let's just kind of dive in. And Julia, what's going on in the marketing news update?
Yes, so short form video is kind of all the rage right now, and it is really taking off on Instagram and YouTube, and it's already huge on Facebook. And to back up some of those statements, we've got some quotes from Mark Zuckerberg. He said that video accounts for nearly half of the time spent on Facebook. And that's actually not something that's super surprising for me. I think of my own personal Facebook habits. I spend a lot of time scrolling through videos. I get like sucked in. I end up on one cat video, and an hour later I'm who knows what I'm watching. But I spend hours on there. Not so much like posting, but on those little videos. And he also said that Reels are Instagram's largest contributor to engagement growth. And I think about our marketing stuff that we're doing right now internally for Handshake and how we've been like cranking out Reels because those seem to be boosting our engagement. And Instagram has been saying, you know, it's not just a photo-based platform anymore. It's really trying to evolve and encompass all those videos. So that's huge. And then on YouTube Shorts now have 15 billion daily views, according to a CEO of Google. Again, it's just that short-term video. I think of like the attention span of people these days. You know, you don't want to sit and watch a 20-minute video on YouTube. You want to get all your information quick and get on the go.
It's the true TikTok effect, right? It is literally... It is everyone loving short form video and quick digestible stuff. It's clearly, you know, TikTok found lightning in a bottle, and now every other platform is finding ways to kind of exploit that same sort of media.
Yeah, and it's that generational shift too, right? Like us millennials and Gen Z, like for better or worse, our attention spans may not be quite as focused or as long, right? So like maybe we're just getting more efficient in how we're absorbing information. So it's all kind of adding up. So that sort of segue into this new trend of shorter videos isn't too surprising based on, you know, us hip generations coming through and changing things up a little bit. I'm going to dive into some other stats about ad revenue from some of the other platforms. So like for last week, we talked about Twitter and Snapchat. Let's talk about some other really popular platforms. So Google, right? Google made $50.4 billion with a B dollars in ad revenue, up 69% last year. Come on, good on you, Google, but woo, lots of money, right? Google search generated $35.8 billion, YouTube ads made $7 billion, and the Google network alone $7.5 billion. So ain't no question, Google knows what's up when it's coming to that ad spend. So it's still working for people. If you know how to run those Google ads for yourself or need some help, definitely get it, and don't diminish or second guess Google's ability to get your ads out there. Facebook revenue for Facebook still at $29.08 billion with a B. These numbers just sound like monopoly money, I know, but stay with me. Predominantly from their ads, right? That people like Facebook ads still popular. Even with the iOS changes that have come through in the last couple months or so. This is a 59% increase over last year, right? Although daily usage is stalling in Europe and the United States for Facebook. So this is an interesting stat to keep an eye on as we move further into 2021 and into 2022. Let's talk LinkedIn next. Ad revenue surpassed $1 billion. This is a big deal. People kind of sleep on LinkedIn, I think. And there's a lot of growth there, despite, you know, once you get all of those too many salesy DMs coming through, once you filter all of those out, there's a lot of opportunity on LinkedIn for not just connecting, not just hiring, like really true meaningful ads and getting your sales out there. So, you know, LinkedIn is them surpassing this 1 billion mark is actually quite a big deal. It's for the first time in a recent quarter. This is a 97% increase over last year for them. That's a big, big, big one. So then the last one, which again, I know Chris and I have talked about our love of Spotify always being open on our phone or on our computers. Spotify didn't give a quite specific figure, but we dig deep and figured out that they've said that podcast ad revenue increased overall by 627%. Insane, totally exceeding expectations. I mean, I have several friends who started a podcast as part of their pandemic pivot or as their pandemic hobby. A lot of people's new jobs that they've taken in the last year, including podcasting. Hello, I'm right there with you. So I think I'm not too surprised by that. Finally, Amazon. Can't forget Amazon ever, right? Ad revenue generated 7.9 billion with the B last quarter, up 77% from the previous quarter. I mean, whatever you want to say about Amazon, right? Good, bad, middle ground, right? It's still a very big player. So e-commerce has been very, very interesting to watch in the past year. But I think, Julia, you may have some really interesting stats to kind of piggyback off of that.
Absolutely. So last year we got to remember we were all stuck inside. It was, the height of COVID. And while all of these things that Alicia are saying are super great, like all this ad revenue is up on a scale of its own, and as a whole, e-commerce is kind of slowing down. Last year, like I said, we were all stuck inside and we had no choice but to online shop, So the demand started to outweigh the supply of what was available. This year, it's kind of the opposite. Everybody's allowed to go outside of their homes these days and go shopping in person. So the statement of e-commerce slowing down can be kind of backed up by 2 points. After 11 quarters of consecutive growth, Pinterest reported a decline in users in Q2 of 2021, losing 24 million users in 3 months. So that's a huge decline in not a lot of time. And the second one is Amazon's revenue actually has dropped from 41% to 27% in the past year. So, in the height of COVID last summer, it was kind of booming, and now that we're all allowed to go outside and shop in person, not many people are Amazon shopping as much as they were. So it's kind of interesting how ad revenue is up, but e-commerce as a whole is kind of coming down.
Yeah, I think that the reason ad spend's up is everyone's trying to capture eyeballs in the competing market, especially to your point. Now we are shifting away from doing everything online. We're starting to get options of actually being back out in person and doing things from shopping to socializing and all that. So, I think that's a great way to segue into our topic for today, which is how can you continue to grow your following via giveaways? So, Alicia and myself, we have run a ton of giveaways over, the past year or so. So, I just kind of want to dive in, Alicia, and, what makes a good giveaway?
Wow. I think there are a couple different answers to that. One is just a great prize, right? At the end of the day, I know in terms of when I'm personally, as an individual user of a social media or whatever platform, looking for, is this worth my time, right? So is it that, it was, you may see a giveaway for a $25 gift card. Okay, to the right store. Yeah, you got my attention. So when I know personally, when I'm coordinating giveaways, whether it's for one of our brands or for my own feed, I'm really looking for fun ways to sort of up the ante, right? And kind of push it a little bit. Can we fit in the budget $100 gift card? Hey, I'd take $100 over 25 any day, right? Another thing I like to really push with partners is what kind of out of the box experience can you provide for a giveaway that isn't necessarily something they can purchase, right? This is also a big thing in the nonprofit field around silent auctions, live auctions, is what's that unique experience that you can't get off the store shelf, or you can't call and be send this to me immediately, right? Whether it's that private home dinner with that big local chef, or some really unique one-of-a-kind item, or if it was a run-of-the-mill or one-of-a-kind sort of one printing of a t-shirt that you just happen to have some leftover in the back. So again, those really unique things that people can't get do great in giveaways. I also think just really fantastic partners, right? If you get people together, and this is one thing we like to do is, when we are feeling generous, we may just, go for it and be like, as our brand, we're going to do this today. But how can we really gather, right, more together and find that opportunity to say, hey, partner A, hey, partner B, hey, partner C, what can we all bring together? It elevates not only that overall value, probably elevating then that overall experience, and ends up being more reach for everyone. The user ends up getting to follow great new accounts in the process too. I know I've learned of a lot of accounts that are some now of my favorites because of giveaways. So those are my main three focus points when I'm starting to plan a giveaway is the overall prize itself. Is there a uniqueness to the prize? And then are there great partners that I can make a part of this as well? And that's how I start. And then I run from there.
And I think, kind of to piggyback off that a little bit, the ask is kind of important too, right? If we're asking for, I don't know, just like this post and you're giving away just sort of a very basic giveaway versus having to go through the steps of, we want you to follow 5 or 6 accounts and leave a comment and do this. I think the more you're asking that user to do, the better the prize is, the more likely they'll actually complete all those steps. And
Yeah,
I think,
most definitely. If it's just a $20 admission ticket to your local museum, I'm probably not going to do a loop giveaway of 50 different accounts that I'm going to have to track my way through. That's a wonderful point, Pat.
Exactly. And I think, you don't always have to think of these giveaways as just like potentially a like and follow on whatever social media platform. We've seen a lot of success trying to drive email signups on site. Just, again, it's a smaller ask. You're just trying to get someone's email, add you to the list, and we're constantly running, if you sign up, we give away one something a month, and that's just continually growing that email list. So, you don't always have to think of giveaways as, I need to get likes and follows on a certain social platform. There's other ways you can do it to build, your email list, build whatever, you're trying to actually, whatever information you're trying to build from that customer base. Maybe it's a survey. Maybe it's, whatever it might be.
I even have done it in, posting an Instagram giveaway and then pushing it via Facebook, right? If I have an amazing following on Facebook, but I need to boost up my Instagram following, I'll cross promote it over on Facebook. And that way it incentivizes the Facebook user to also follow us on Instagram. And that way that's even more awareness about your product or service, about your business. And yes, everyone's got their, the platforms where they call home. But I think that idea that you don't have to be locked and loaded to one platform is really important, especially thinking past social, right? We've done this in a lot of ways, in terms of using email, right? And whether that's a pop-up, we do that a lot with pop-ups on sites. And people love to get that email right afterwards saying that, hey, you won. There's very, my favorite days of work are when I get to contact people about giveaways, right? Especially the higher the value, right? The joy in people's lives. When I had hit 10 years of blogging for my individual, I did an entire prize pack that was worth over $1,000, right? It had some of my best partners over the year contributed, gift cards, restaurants, all sorts of stuff, right? And that people lost their minds that their friend won the giveaway. So it wasn't even just the friend losing their mind, it was their friends of friends losing their mind. So I think that's something about the joy that actually running giveaways. I always look at it as kind of that opportunity to give back to your following as well. And I think that's another important thing of why it's important to make the prize really great, right? It's kind of like when you go out of the way to buy your mom something super special for her birthday, right? Think of the joys on their faces at the end of the day. So I love when we can kind of push it and even take it past, just an Instagram giveaway or hey, find those other unique ways to get giveaways worked into your marketing plan too.
Right. Because it's not just, hey, we're trying to sell, or we're trying to get something from you. Giveaways truly, yes, you're trying to get some engagement in that, but you're just kind of just giving something back. You're not expecting people to purchase necessarily or, anything like that. So it's not necessarily saying we want to get a bunch of money from you because you're trying to sell a product or a service. It's truly just, hey, you follow us, you like us. Here are some other people we think you might like and follow. And, it's a great way to kind of blend those audiences together, right? I think that's a big key is And we've seen this running giveaways. It's tough to run the same giveaway with the same partner over and over because your audiences have already crossed over, right? So you're
Very
constantly
true.
looking for a good partner that you haven't run anything with to do exactly that. Get those audiences to cross over. So I think that's a huge key in ways to run a giveaway.
I think the last thing on that is that I'm 100% in agreement in trying to vary those partners. That the only thing I'll add in is just being aware of your existing partnerships, right? And I'm not, contracts are one thing, but I think it's always just nice in the sense of like, hey, say it's an annual giveaway. So, for example, for the Cleveland baseball team, which I know has a new name, but we've worked on annual giveaways around opening day, and we've gone to the same set of partners annually to put this giveaway together. That makes sense to me because 365 days is a long time in social media land, right? So, like over time, we've all accumulated new followers that maybe doesn't know about those partners we've already worked with. So that kind of is, leading into another thought that I'd love to, hear your thoughts on, Julia and Pat, around like, I know how often I like running giveaways. I think some of it is very brand specific, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it before I jump in.
Yeah, I think, from a timing standpoint, I think it goes back to what you mentioned about what is the giveaway, right? If it's just for us, we run a lot of them with pickles where we're just giving away necessarily a 4-pack, and it's just kind of a quick and easy giveaway that we maybe run those more often versus, like you said, once a year, maybe we're running this mega giveaway where we have a ton of partners involved. So I think you don't want to necessarily like tire out your audience with giveaways and just become a giveaway account. I think we try to run one like maybe once a month, maybe get a partner or two in it. And even then, if we don't have a good partner or something, we just kind of say, maybe we skip it this month and we move on to the next month and work to maybe build one a little bit bigger. But I think it's driven by what is the size of the giveaway. Is it a mega one or is it just something standard? And then B, just like anything else, people are creatures of habit. What's your kind of cadence with this, right? Like, is it once a month and you just kind of do it? Is it once every 2 weeks? And it kind of varies for you. You'll be able to gauge that on your audience, I think. At least, or Julia, you could probably talk to, just numbers that you've seen when we run giveaways for an account. Like, like anything, you can pull data from it and kind of take information from that, right?
Absolutely. And like, I also think from myself as somebody who hasn't been involved in running a lot of giveaways, as a consumer, if I'm only seeing giveaways, like it's totally going to change my buying habits later on because I'll just rely on like a giveaway or something and may not become somebody who regularly purchases from you. So I think too many giveaways too often could negatively impact that. And I know we like had a podcast about that earlier on, which go check it out. It had some good information in it. But, and then in terms of the data, yeah, like you'll be able to see which giveaways are successful, when you ran them, what times you ran them, where you ran them. And from there, you can start to build like a giveaway profile and start matching and mixing every time. So it's always going to be a little bit different, but you're pulling your best data to create your best variations of giveaways.
I've 100% seen this. I have a partner that I work with quarterly for my own personal feed, and every quarter we give away usually a $50 gift card. And I've been doing it now for a couple years, but they've all been pretty well entered. Like people probably anticipated at this point, like you're gonna see a gift card giveaway from this partner of mine probably about nowish, right? Even just the simplicity of posting at a different time during the day. And again, this comes to the importance of data and looking at it on a regular basis can affect your giveaway. The last giveaway I did for this partner, some of it was just my poor planning, but I posted it mid-afternoon thinking, oh, let's sometimes it's about trying something different. I had the least amount of entries, the least amount of likes. It was one of the worst performing giveaways I had ever seen. And I was shocked. I was a little embarrassed because sometimes it's not worth, like you also need to know when it's a good time to take a risk on something, right? Maybe working with a regular partner, that maybe not the best time for me of taking that little bit of a risk of just posting at a different time. So really think about, Pat, my biggest point was going to be around consistency, right? We need it as humans. We love it as technology users, right? We need it when it comes to our giveaway planning too. So once you start to figure out your consistency and what works for your audience, remember, it's kind of the sure, we may have started our feeds for ourselves, but once you get to a point, you're doing it for your audience, right? Whether it's because you're a business or a creator or fill in the blank, right? Come back to that point to be like, when is this going to knock it out of the park? When are my users on? When have I had past success with giveaways? So say you have just been running those monthly good, but not as great prize packs. Maybe every quarter then becomes a better one. And then maybe it's once a year, it's that mega giveaway. So I love the consistency point ultimately. And I think the regularity helps everyone, yourself and your audience, be ready for giveaways too.
Yeah, I think, so kind of a follow-up question about consistency and stuff. What are some things that you just help to organize these giveaways, right? Like, I know we use things like Google Docs just to even put a templated, like, this is the post, these are the hashtags we're going to use. You try and get the partners involved in that. But like, what are some steps you do to just kind of process out these giveaways and kind of make them run as smooth as possible?
Yeah, I think we have consistent content calendars running. So I can say, okay, this, for example, August, end of summer vibe, right? Like what partners can and I start to brainstorm, end of summer, what am I doing at the end of the summer? I'm taking time off. So maybe it's a vacation themed giveaway compared to September, which may be like a Labor Day last cookout of the season, or maybe the kickoff of football season, so I'm always constantly looking at the upcoming months, the upcoming trends of those months, holidays of those months, things of that nature. Also, we're constantly cultivating a list of potential partners. So that could be as we are navigating the feeds, maintaining them on a regular basis, seeing like, oh, this other brand is also engaging with us a lot. Maybe they would be interested in partnering on a giveaway. So that's always a list that is always running. Simply kept in something, can be simply as kept in a Excel document, doesn't have to be anything fancy. And then from there, it's again, like I have a general template that I like to use in terms of those kind of go-to statements that are included in most posts, right? And they solid, hey, this is a giveaway. Don't want to miss this. Lots of big caps, emojis. Don't be afraid to really go big with that intro statement, that sort of intro statement, then saying, here's what the giveaway is. Here's why, right? Because with the unofficial end of summer coming, with Labor Day this weekend, we are giving away the ultimate cookout prize pack. So you have the greatest last barbecue of 2021, right? So that, kind of tie it together. Then I like to introduce here's how you win, here's how you enter, right? Here's how you win the stuff. Usually, almost always, it's a like the post. Always, it's a follow the set accounts participating. And always, for me at least, is tagging another Instagram account, at least one. There's different ways of managing that as well. Basically, what that does is just spread the word, right? So one of my best friends is, God bless her, notorious for tagging me in all of the Instagram giveaways that have ever existed on the platform. So I'm like, okay, I'm constantly, but every once in a while I'll be like, that's a giveaway worth entering for me, right? So that's how, again, I learned of a lot of these new accounts because of other friends tagging me and trying to win stuff. From there, you want to explain, so another point of entry could be sharing to Instagram stories. Personally, that's a little more complicated. You kind of have to track that on the back end, and it's exhausting and probably not always the best in terms of the workload on your end. But if you got the time, not a bad thing to offer. I'd like to personally offer like quadruple the amount of entries for sharing the Instagram stories, but you do you. Then from there is the like, hey, here's the time frame, like give people a deadline. It's open today through Saturday. We're picking a winner on Sunday. Good luck. And then, it's not a bad idea to include that good old disclaimer, like we are not affiliated with Instagram, Facebook, so on and so forth, so that, just to cover yourself a little bit. And then appropriate hashtags, right? Think about the topics that you're working on. If you're doing a food giveaway, you want all the food hashtags. If you're doing a sports related giveaway, you want all the sports hashtags. You do that spread of super global to super local. So that's kind of my entire thought process when I'm creating the actual copy. Again, strong imagery. We talk about this all the time. You have to have great creative, whether you have a graphic designer on your team, you just have an iPhone with a fantastic camera already built into it. That's always a big part of that consistency. And then running it, right? So you run that giveaway, you find that opportunity to then give the gift away. Always my favorite part, right? So then how do you pick entries? So there's a couple different ways. I know when I'm running from a single account, there's a tool called exportcomments.com. I've been on this site a million times in my life at this point, but it's a great tool that will actually do the work for you, right? So you kind of, you give it access to your accounts and you hit a button once or twice at most, and it then tells you, hey, here's a winner, right? And you also can tell it hey, did they tag people? Are they following my account? Are they following that account? So you give the site those details around, here's what you need, here's what I need for them to have done so that I can pick them as a winner. Then it tells you who the winner is, right? You then got to go contact them, usually Instagram DM or whatever the channel that giveaway was on is the best way to get that done. But yeah, and then you go forth and you send them stuff and everyone's happy and you have new followers and they've got great stuff and it's joyous and it's beautiful and it puts the biggest smile on my face. I will say though, Pat, I would love for you to talk about when we do entries with more than one partner, when everyone is posting the giveaway to their account. Can you talk about how we pick a winner from that kind of scenario?
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of the same process. We use that export comments thing, but you're actually able to just kind of go to an individual post. So it's a few more steps because you have to go to each of those partner pages and then actually like pull the URL for the post. But what I do is that they export each of those out to an Excel doc. I copy and paste all of them into like a single document. And then I usually actually just like to sort by time to kind of randomize it a bit. So it's not all one account, like the top third, second third, third are all one account. Mix it up by whenever those comments got posted, and it just doesn't really matter what account is. And then, we do a random number draw, and we just find out what line on Excel or like Google Sheets that is, and that's how we pull a winner. And another thing that we do that I kind of love in our template doc is one of the things is, and sometimes we don't always get this information, but we like to see like what was the follower growth with our partners, right? So identifying like, were we the biggest account that grew or was it someone else? And then that's information you can use as you're approaching new partners. Like, hey, this last giveaway we ran, our partners grew by X% of their following in the last giveaway. So it's just another tool to have in your back pocket when you're kind of approaching those partners to say, hey, these are successful and here's why. So we hope you guys found a ton of useful information in today's episode. Be sure to tag us in those giveaways once you start running them at Hey, it's Handshake. Follow the podcast on YouTube or whatever podcast platform you're listening to, and we will catch you next time. Thanks.